Start for GVSU Blue gets turned around by a massive support play in Louisville.
It's not done yet. Final fight of this round is at hand. And GVSU Blue will have both support ultimates here, so it means that Joe DePro, who has been a hero for this team before, will need to be one once again, as it is just the Shatter in tow. And that is the only thing that stands between defeat and this first round for the team in control of the objective at the moment.
99-99. GVSU has to drop contesting this. The Shatters through, gets 4 on the ground, an instant fire strike, triple elimination, quad kill, make it a quintuple. That's the team kill in the last fight. You say, oh, they have a shot, and out of nowhere, it is a full smackdown from Joe DePro. 1-0 on Oasis.
Another round stolen by University of Louisville Red. And what a tremendous showcase here by of just the mental performance by by University of Louisville Red, I should highlight, in this one. I mean, Classy, one of the big things here is, like, in those final moments, there's every tool needed by GVSU to close that one out, right? They have the Blizzard, they have the Photon Barrier. All they need to do is not panic and just put down the front line, execute, with the elimination. You set the Photon Barrier up behind the Blizzard, you put the Blizzard in front of it, freeze 2 targets. It doesn't matter the sound barrier is there because the Photon Barrier acts as a line of sight barrier on it, right? Prevents that from kind of protecting. But GVSU Blue, they overcommit to the fight, they pull the trigger too quickly, and in the final moments, I mean, Joe DePro, you need a hero, rotates around the objective, and no one is the wiser. The Shatter comes down, it lays down 5. And you have only one thing to win the fight, and there it is for you.
Yeah, very nicely set up. Once again, Joe DePro finding that opening with the Shatter, as they've done so many times before. Now going to University, I mean, you said it, GVSU kind of has to steal one of these points away before you get to University, because now it's going to be the Brawl Central. And this says Symmetra may set up. Well, it's done a lot of work. There's also a little bit of a shortcoming here and there, it looks to be, because Engineer is getting so many accurate shots off that you cannot just not really match on the Symmetra and May all this pot damage, which gives El Magnum and Jumba a lot of support charge. They've been using that so effectively. Like those sound barriers and amplification matrices get so much value.
I like this trade, by the way. Low ground for the Symmetra, high ground for the Cassidy. Spam obviously can poke in and out of cupboards, and it doesn't really need to take a extended fights. So you get first point control. This is a smart read from both teams, actually.
It's going to be first point control for GVSU Blue. The wall stopping the Reiner from dropping, even though Joe DePro might let him want to do that. That's going to be the
such
chance.
a risky drop.
How is Louisville going to attack it? They're just going to go through main. They don't want to risk it, like I said. As wall. Charge comes through onto Joe DePro. We'll get the elimination. Vitaly Field's out for both teams, but Texan, he's just swinging through. Elimination comes through. It's a 3-for-1 trade, and that means Louisville is now actually going to go back to spawn and reset this.
Ooh.
No need to prolong a lost fight.
Yeah, Jumba was so close to being taken out there. That would have been so disastrous. Close. As it is, it's not like GVSU Blue is well out of the fight, right? Texan is right back into it. And with that damage, right? I mean, the focal point of the team, Texan has a Shatter. I don't know the University of Louisville Red's necessarily going to be expecting it.
Louisville looking for some engage here, but it's going to be a very low Joe DePro that has to be kept up with the Vitaly Field and the healing. The Shatter doesn't go over that gap, unfortunately. Only gets 1 on the ground. They don't find the follow-up. Photon Barrier has to be used in order to try and sustain this fight even more, because then you lose your Texan. There is finally the pressure onto Engineer from the Baptista Ball, but Engineer 39 knows exactly how to stop that from being a problem for them. Eliminations finally come through. Mochi Starls for a little bit longer, but she's not going to get the percentage any further than 69. University of Louisville Red takes control, but they have a little bit of a ways to climb in this round.
Blizzard is going to be the name of the game in this next one. In fact, trading Blizzard has been kind of the marker of this match. And University of Louisville Red has gotten more value out of those trades in general.
Oh, nice Shatter. Joe DePro does it again. The Vitaly Field is there. That's the resource extended. Double Blizzard. A lot of frozen targets. A double Fire Strike doesn't quite get them, but there's a little bit more follow-up afterwards. Inks will fall. It's a 4v5 fight at the moment. I don't think... no, GSVU Blue's not going to be continuing that one.
Oh no. University of Louisville Red will now equalize in percentage on this point, in fact, due to that late pick, right? And this actually is really rough for GVSU Blue. I don't know that they have enough tools to kind of break through. Sound barrier will be mirrored, and then you have the Deadeye and Ant Matrix to kind of attend to.
They're out early for Mochi to try and get into this objective. They want to get safe, but they can't really get through the choke with the barrier. So by the time they finally do, already expended. High Noon zones even more. That's Mochi without the sound barrier. Magnum uses theirs as well, though, so it's not completely a lost cause. And nice magnetic grenade onto the May of Kill a Kid. Amplification Matrix is out, though. It's a lot of damage you can't use to follow up the Shatter with. And that is going to be 85% and counting for Louisville. They've just been zoning, and it's been so effective. But there's the offense, finally. And Andreas, while they put down the Amplification Matrix, there's a wall in the way. They could take it out. And once again, they have to back off the side of GVSU Blue. They just cannot seem to get in this point without getting threatened by something. And the percentage just casually ticks to 100. Louisville Red brings it back to a 3-2.
Anticlimactic finish, perhaps, in terms of the aggression from University of Louisville Red, but what a competitive series we have found ourselves in at this stage. University of Louisville Red not going down without a fight. And keep in mind, this was the map selection of GVSU Blue here. We are heading to a map 6 indeed. And all of a sudden, this is looking like an entirely different team from the first half of the first half of the series.
Yeah, entirely different might not be entirely the word. Like, they have been very close, but there were definitely a couple of maps before that didn't really seem like they had something going anymore. It seems like Louisville is just surrendered to the fact that they can pretty much play the mirror style. They don't have to do anything else that's like fancy or different, and they can get away with winning that matchup now. They found the way, they found their solution, and they're going to keep it going on these coming maps. Of course, we have had 5 maps now, but since it's the first of 4, we're going to go to at least 1 more, maybe 2, maybe even 3 more, depending on what they do. It's going to be Escort next. We obviously cannot do Rialto. We can no longer play. What else did we get banned?
Gibraltar, I believe, was the other ban.
Gibraltar was banned. So we're gonna get another ban, which is gonna be Paraíso, which isn't an escort map. So that's interesting. We'll see what they actually ban. But yeah, there's still Circle Royale. There's Shambali. There's Junkertown, Route 66, Dorado. I don't think I'm missing any. I think that's actually all the escort maps that we have left. So there's still a lot of variety left for these teams to pick through, and a lot of Widowmaker maps especially are left, Lafon.
Yeah, it looks like we're actually getting a substitute in for GVSU as well. Inks is going to be stepping back. Wolfie returns, right? The Hanzo player of note, especially I think if you look back at Rialto as kind of being a difference maker there. One thing to kind of top up though is that because we're going to escort, this is a map that GVSU has looked the strongest on to this point, right? This is where they got the full hold on Rialto. This has been a position of strength. So, I mean, this is a tough place to be, to give up not just your map pick, but also the fact that you go to a mode that has been, at least in this series, tough for you. We'll see how well, the return from University of Louisville can be, because this is likely going to be their toughest opportunity to try and force a map number 7.
There we go. Havana is not going to be the pick that's banned, but we go to Circuit Royale. Talked about it in the break a little bit. It's like, oh, yeah, so what's your favorite map? And, we pretty much are on the consensus that this is, you kind of have to play Widowmaker here. It's not really a way to not. But we see university teams and collegiate teams have their own opinions about things. Sometimes you're just able to make it work without the Widowmaker. So we'll see if they also can stick through to that Stigma. Whether they... not going to play Sigma, for example, which we haven't really seen much of this series.
Going to be a very interesting series or map indeed. This is going to be the most, as you sort of touched on moments ago, this is going to be the most different map in terms of style, right? There are a couple of maps in general in Overwatch right now that I would describe as being compositionally required, or have compositional requirements. Other than sort of rush or dive. Circuit ends up being one of them. Double Sniper is so frequently a must pick here that if you have a functional composition that can run double sniper, you will often just win out against other compositions, even if you can run those comps really, really well. So we'll see if that ends up being a difference maker here. There are going to be a couple of switches on GVSU's side. In terms of role swap, we already touched on Wolfie coming in, but Andreas is going to make, I believe, a return to the DPS situation off of support, and I believe Canman for the first time going to be moving over to tank. So the team here for GVSU really playing to try and make this the final map.
Well, potentially close between these teams, but we have seen so far Louisville Red play in the red on attack first every single time, but they're gonna flip the script. Finally, the banners on top are not gonna match the banners in game. University of Louisville Red is gonna defend first. GVSU Blue on their first attack start here, Circuit Royale. And that might also change something up. I mean, we rarely talk about it anymore these days, but attack first or defense first, it can be a big difference maker between how you approach a map mentally.
Attacking first has historically been considered to be the weaker position in Overwatch. This is the reason you see elite teams choose to defend first, even against teams that are about their caliber. So it just gives you, a more confidence going into a situation. Yeah, we're already seeing the quick admission that this map really requires ranged damage, as GVSU Blue is going to look to play the Sigma. Interesting, we're seeing the Bastion step in here. We talked about this window of opportunity on the second map, actually, when we looked at hybrid, and that is that kind of playing around the rotation of the tank form when we were on Hollywood is important. It's so much more dangerous on Escort, right? Especially on Circuit Royale. If you use this ability way earlier than, or the configuration assault early, Wolfie's just going to eat you alive with the Widowmaker.
Wolfie looking for that angle already. This is one of those moments where potentially you're going to see some disgusting angles being taken by either of these Widowmakers. And Wolfie also very much known for being a Halo and Valorant player, so they very much know how these angle holdings and these are going to work.
Man, look how much space is being given up by University of Louisville Red just by the threat of the Widowmaker. Wolfie hasn't even hit a shot yet.
Oh, they're close though. Look for it. No, don't quite take it just yet. Eventually they're gonna find someone, you think, but they just keep giving up space. Louisville Red is happier not being shot at than to risk being shot at.
I mean, they're putting themselves in a kill box, essentially, or trying to get their opponent into a kill box so that they can give the Bastion time to kind of set up. There's that Immortality field. There's the configuration assault. And GVSU Blue just wisely waited out.
They're looking for a little bit more, but it's not going to come through just now. There is Canman taking a bunch of damage now on the Sigma, by the way. And eventually they find their counterparts, Engineering Killer Kid. That card has rolled an awful lot of space. The advantage being, though, Lafon, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, now you don't have card cover.
Yeah, you do.
So this is going to be a decent place to hold.
I do like this change to Hanzo, though. There's not a lot of great angles for the Widow to set up when you're playing this sort of passive corner that the defense is just afforded by nature. So having this Hanzo here is going to remove the one strength that is given to the composition of this Bastion, which is shield pressure. Obviously, Killer Kid is going to have just so much more value in terms of shield break. It can now be met and matched by virtue of the Hanzo Storm Arrow.
See whether or not the Zenyatta Discord Orb is going to also contribute to that. See implication makers come out from defense, though. Beautiful entity onto Joda Pro. They have to be a little bit careful. Well, there is indeed, once again, the Tac Visor from Engineer finding some value. The Transcendence does come through after, even though they are number disadvantaged. They want to take this fight. They want to try and push this card through. They have to find a little bit more. There is the Bastion Ultimate. Won't find anybody. Doesn't have to, because Canman is just going to get a triple kill on their own. And Tech Zen finally get true to their name on the Zenyatta, Canman on the Sigma. That switch is looking to work out.
That was 8 ultimates, by the way, in that fight. Explosive. It's the difference is that GVSU Blue wins. So, when your opponent is as likely to invest as you, and you win the fight, you're in good position to kind of set up. And with GVSU Blue giving up so much, or earning so much space for free, University of Louisville Red, yeah, you can see it right there. They use the Gravitic Flux to just basically get out of spawn, and this has now kind of put them in an extreme deficit resource-wise. Sure, they have the defensive high ground. How much is that going to help you when GVSU Blue, with the time bank they have, changes up the momentum, changes up the tempo, and kind of forces you off the ground? Remember, this is not an easy composition to make work for University of Louisville Red. They only have that configuration to kind of work through, and once that cooldown is used, you're in a very, very tough position.
They do have a lot of space to work with, and stopping that card that early, stopping the momentum dead in its tracks with their Gravitic Flux still helped them out a lot. You kill a kid, get taken out by Canman early, though. That Discord Orb really doing a number on them. El Magnum, it's cool you get the res off, but you need it to live yourself, and the pressure is just overwhelming from GVSU Blue. They're going to keep on pushing forward, and the Genji from Andreas just finding the value it needs to as well.
I mean, that was that tempo I was talking about, right? Kill a Kid just doesn't, once the configuration is gone, who are you really stopping, right? And it just opens up that tempo. So GVSU Blue basically at the second point for free, and now 4 minutes on the clock. Some changes here from University of Louisville Red. We see the mate Jumba onto the Ana as well, but this feels piecemeal, it feels haphazard. And GVSU Blue, I mean, expect a Nanoblade to kind of be the ability that kind of punches through. There's no defensive utility to stop it either. It's going to have to come down to mechanics.
Trying to heal up your Hanzo when he's behind a pillar. It can be tricky sometimes, but once she finally hits the angle.
Look how much space you're gaining, by the way. The payload's like a third of the way done, and by the time this fight actually happens, it'll be halfway through the third phase, and there's still 3 minutes left on the clock.
You see this before in Hollywood, University of Louisville Red giving up so much space, and they did it on Streets. They do it here as well. There is a Maywell that comes from Kill Like It. Doesn't split anyone off, but at least slows them down a little bit. The blade is out, though. Goes after Engineer. There's the Nano Boost. Finally, will also find the Sigma. And then they can dash through into the back line. This Kiriko will fall. There goes maybe also Jumba. Yeah, Jumba will be found as well. What can they really do? Can anyone touch? The team goes through. For like 4 seconds to maybe touch, but the Gravitic Flux is out. That's going to be a completion with 2:49 on the clock. And that is not a time you want to see on Circuit Royale, which is such a defendable map.
And now, I mean, GVSU Blue has set the marker. Not just in the time bank, as you noted, but also compositionally. This has been, University of Louisville Red is running a suboptimal comp for this map. The personnel they have, perhaps not able to run the Widow Hanzo, that's fine. But, I mean, they have to bring out something magical on their offense. Not just to equalize the time bank, but also to have just to find an advantage on their offensive side. The Bastion is even easier to kite off or defensively than offensively, because you can kind of break line of sight while that cooldown comes through. And so University of Louisville Red, they cannot return to that playbook. They'll have to find something new to try and make this point and this map and the series at that continue to work in their favor.
It's going to be one shot that they get here, Louisville Red, in order to keep themselves in the series, put themselves onto an equalized match point. But it's all in GVSU's corner. As long as they put up a decent defense, all they have to do is just not let them cap third, or even if they cap third, just with basically no time on the bank. There's so much wiggle room for them. You can almost not imagine them losing this, but there's always the possibility. It's never done before it's actually done. Louisville is going to put up the return of the Fire Mercy and Engineer on the Ash this time around.
Well, it's a good read to put damage down. It actually means that you have to kind of choose to play between the Pharah or the Ash. Still, it's not a guaranteed win. And Wolfie actually takes down a Mercy from the sky. That is a tough shot to take. Tough shot to make, too.
We'll get that first one out of it. GVSU Blue. Control of this map still. I mean, almost the first minute down, and nothing has really happened yet. This is not the tempo you want to set.
And I mean, the progress is not even, nothing's really happened, but it also means that defensively you have a second sort of angle to kind of hide from in terms of cover, right? and you don't have to give up a ton of ground. There's that Bastion that comes in, but you're not really forced to take the fight against the transformation mode, so the payload can't really move.
Another dynamite coming through. Engineer trying to find some value out of that. They do have a bunch of ult charge built up, so that is something that's going for them. So does Jumba. Already Immortality Field used once again. A lot of carries going low on the high ground, but it's not enough. They need to get a little bit more in order to actually get the elimination. They're not finding it so far. Andrea super aggressive here on the Sojourn, but will unfortunately, for them at least, not find the kill, but doesn't really need to. They're already being pushed back. Louisville go for another attack. They do have ultimates now, though.
I mean, they only have half their time bank to return to, though. And so this next fight is a must-win for them. Because you cannot... You're looking at the grand total of the map, right? And the time bank is going to be such a problem if they don't win this next one. The only issue is that for every ult they use, GVSU Blue can reply with one of their own, or by virtue of that map geometry we've been talking about so much, just completely ignore it.
Ooh, good grenade from Gilligan onto Wolfie through the amplification matrix. Find that first one. There is a Gravitic Flux that comes out as well. Won't really find anything, but will at least force out the Transcendence. Now there's the push forward from Louisville. Won't quite get the accretion through the door, unfortunately, but you know, who really needs a accretion when you're pushing this hard? Canman closes their own Gravitic Flux though, but Texan will fall. This is a numbers advantage for side of Louisville. They get their res off as well. See if Bastion will actually be able to live after the Dragon comes through. We'll try to get him for the Gravitic Flux. We'll actually get up, but we'll get accretion out of the sky nonetheless. The healing is there. El Magnum perfectly capable of pocketing and keeping alive their DPS. Now the artillery fire. Wolfie finds the elimination on the Engineer somehow. Texan goes down on the other side. Is through back and forth between these teams. But so long as they're stalling, GVSU doesn't even mind losing this fight, and they're not going to lose it in the first place. Another elimination, another team kill. And with 50 seconds on the clock, Louisville, they're truly down and up against it. There's almost nothing that they can do.
I mean, the defensive stronghold makes itself known once more. University of Louisville Red. I mean, they've made magic out of this Ant Matrix before. They'll need to do it once more. The saving grace is that GVSU Blue has nothing economically. The bad news is the time bank does not favor them and will no longer favor them for the rest of the map, the series indeed. This is a must-win situation. We'll see how well University of Louisville Red can respond.
Go to Pro using the Kinetic Grasp. Will not be able to dodge the accretion, obviously, because that's not how that works. Oh, there's the Dragon once again splitting off the team, and it's Engineer that gets caught out. There goes Kill a Kid. No rest comes through from El Magnum. This is it. It's going to be GVSU Blue punching their ticket into another championship title. And they are the ones that with 4-2 will take the series, take the championship. The season is done for these two teams. And the Challengers division is indeed won by GVSU.
Tremendous performance here from GVSU Blue. Some role swaps in the final moments, but they made it work here on this final map. And just unbelievable showcase of talent across the board. They lost 2 maps in the regular season to Louisville Red. They mark that a second time and do not give them any further ground to work with. A 4-2 scoreline here in the grand finals. And what a showcase all the way throughout, because as close as the series has been on some of these maps, I mean, GVSU Blue on the maps they won looked so dominant. I mean, if you look at Escort especially, both Rialto and then again on Circuit Royale, incredible difference makers.
Yeah, it's been a series and a half from map 1. It looked like it was going to get very close. Well, GVSU did dominate on a couple of these maps. University of Louisville put up a heck of a fight, especially those 2 maps that they won. They just kind of stole them away from GVSU. And a clutch factor like that, like just moments like that, they're not just luck, they're created. They're forced out. And Louisville does have something up their sleeve when it comes to that. There's something that is there's like a formula that if they work on, they can really come back stronger than ever. And next time they might take the W.
I mean, just in general, I think the marker of both these teams was of tremendous presence. Being able to quickly change the tempo on a dime, right? We saw that multiple times in a row. We also saw I mean, different styles, different strategies showcase map to map, and overall, I was very impressed with the performance here. And GVSU, I mean, we got to give them a round of applause here, right? Hearty congratulations at that, to win in the grand finals here and to have such an excellent performance. I mean, is absolutely worthy of praise, and a very, very well earned victory from them.
Yeah, we're not just going to give them a digital, third-party praise. No, we're going to actually try and see if we can get at least one, maybe even more people from them in the chat for a quick interview. So don't go anywhere. We get them set up, and then we're going to congratulate them right there in personal stream. See you in a bit. Welcome back, everybody, and we're here with Tech Zen from GVSU Blue. Congratulations, of course, on the win.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, great series. We talked about it just now a little bit before we got you in, but yeah, I mean, it got a little bit closer towards the end. You guys played each other before the season already.
We did.
Was this sort of what you guys were expecting to coming into this?
Yeah, Louisville, they put up a tough challenge. They're really good. Their Cassidy player is insane. Engineer, I want to shout him out. He was great. Put a lot of pressure on us, and so we kind of looked at their comp back when we played them in the regular season, and we knew going into today that they would most likely be running a lot of rush. So we tried to play around that, our own rush variations with Ramatra and Rhine, and seemed to work very well. Yeah, we let up towards the end there, but we made some swaps, put them on Circuit Royale, and I think that was our winning strategy, and it worked well. So
Yeah, let's take a moment to talk about swaps though, right? It's we gotta get into the nitty gritty as well, because no more strats to kind of hide here towards the end of the season. Obviously,
Yeah.
role swapping your team around a little bit. To talk to me about that and what that means in terms of structure, right? Comm structure is a big one. Obviously, we talked about Overwatch, but what has it meant for your team to kind of have that flexibility in personnel?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's actually a very interesting story. So Canman was our tank player for pretty much the entire season up until playoffs. I used to play tank a lot for the team back in the day. And so we kind of identified by VOD reviewing, working with some coaches, like what would be the best role for who's going to shot call and strategize. And we found that just him on the Mei is a lethal weapon. And so me on the Rhine, it just worked really well with synergy. And then we also noticed that we have other players on the team that are really good in terms of flexing into different roles. Andreas, he's an amazing DPS player, but also really strong support. And so we like to kind of flex him depending on what map we're playing. He's a really great BAP, so we'll put him on BAP or put him on Tracer. So it's really fitting into the hero pool of certain players on the team and just finding strategies that work on the maps. We spend considerable time before today's matches working on that, practicing different strategies and comms. And that seemed to be the winning strategy tonight. So very happy with everyone's performance.
Yeah, it's great to hear, and I can imagine that the map ban pick system also helps a little bit with that, with strategizing, being able to eliminate a couple maps that might not play quite well those styles. Because when it came to it, like you said, the Circle Royale pick, but even some of the other map picks that came out, the map bans that came out, really worked out in your favor.
Yeah.
Is that something that you guys like? You don't really decide it in the moment, I'm assuming. It's like a premeditated thing.
Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned that, because we've kind of had this mental model of the team, which maps we don't like and which maps we really do like. Antarctic Peninsula has been a fan favorite. We actually were horrible on that map in the regular season. Then we had a coach come in and walk us through how to position, where to play. And then we've been running that all through the playoffs. And actually, I think we've won almost every time we've played it. So it's a great success. We do the same thing with Circuit. We found that Canman Sigma is really consistent. Me and the Zenyatta, it's in the name. So it just found this really cool synergy there. And so we've been running those different comps. But yeah, for picks, just today, going into that, we built out an entire spreadsheet of all the maps in the pool and our order of how we'd want to play the maps with the pick ban system. And that's the strategy we deployed tonight. And it worked very well. So
let's zoom out a little bit, though, because it has been a tremendous performance from you. If you could pick one favorite moment throughout the entire season, what has been the absolute highlight for you?
Oh man, that's hard for me. It's bittersweet. I'm a senior. I just finished my master's degree at Grand Valley State, and so I've been playing Overwatch for the team for the last 2.5, 3 years. I've been the main shot caller, coach, leader of most of the teams here in my tenure, and working with these players. I've known many of them for over 4 years now. And seeing them grow in the game, outside of the game. I mean, we're truly a bunch of friends, but also a bigger family. I'm just super happy to work with them. It's hard to identify a key moment. One of the most recent things was, I think, in the semis, we all got together face to face, which is something we don't always have the opportunity to do. We bonded over some Domino's pizza. I got to put out little thank you cards to everyone, and then we fired up and we played semis together in person. So that was a really fun moment for me. Other than that, just the whole season playing with these guys, learning their strategies, learning how they play, working with them to hone their skills over the last season has been amazing. Some of our players, I mean, our team started out as a 2.9K, 3K average. We're 3.7K today. I think that's a testament to everyone's ability to hop in ranked, to work on how to play the game better, and climb through the ladder. And it's shown out today. I think we wouldn't be here without everyone's dedication to the game. So super happy.
Yeah, awesome to hear. And like you said, you've known him for 4 years. I'm sure you're always going to be bonded for life in the the crucible that is Legion Overwatch.
That is right.
Yeah, because obviously, I mean, we talked a little bit about the jersey you have on. You had you had that since last year. And do you feel like you've like helped set up the program over at the university a little bit as well, like as a person, like you sort of left a legacy there, other than just talk with the players themselves?
Yeah, I had a cool role. I've been involved with the Overwatch side of things, but I also was the VP of our esports club on campus. We have over 300 students in there, and we host different games within the club. So Overwatch is just one little subsection, but we also have a huge Valorant presence, as well as League of Legends, Rocket League. And so I got to oversee a lot of that as well. And we have other teams in NECC competing this week in Valorant and in League. And so really cool to see those teams compete. I've always had a fan in my heart for Overwatch because I've been playing it. But yeah, it's been really cool to see the club progress. The school built the esports facility, kind of working with the club that started 4 years ago. So it's really cool to see what Grand Valley State's doing with esports. I'm really excited for the future. We have an awesome esports director, eBoard, that's running the thing. And so I'm excited to see where they take Overwatch 2 in that scene, but also all the other games we play and roster. So,
I mean, impressive season, impressive showing, and I mean, at this point, we get to roll out the red carpet for you. Congratulations on the victory here. Any final thoughts you want to have before we let you go?
Almost a large majority of the team is graduating. I myself graduated. Canman graduated. Mochi graduated. Derek graduated. Inks graduated. So, just thank you guys for being on this team, for putting all the blood, sweat, and tears into everything, for being flexible with me, working with the coaches. We put in a tremendous amount of effort this season. I was so happy to see everyone just step up to the plate and take a swing and hit a home run. We had some really close semis and quarters. Today, I think we were stronger than ever before. We were in quick play for an hour, just focusing on shot calling and communicating, and that, I think, played out really well tonight. So, no, just huge thank you to everyone on the team. Also, for those not graduating, I'm really excited to see potentially Andreas and other students take the future legacy and continue it on at Grand Valley State. So, yeah, super happy, excited to see how it goes as an alumni, and maybe join in for a couple of VOD review sessions or something of the sort.
Awesome. Well, can't wait to see where you guys as individuals, but also as a team and a club, go in the future. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Yeah, thank you.
Go celebrate the win with the rest of the team. I'm sure you guys have a lot of fun plans.
Yes, we will. Thank you guys so much for your time tonight, for casting, for putting it all together. We couldn't do it without you. Really appreciate the opportunity to get streamed, and it's been a great pleasure playing in the NECC League. So we look forward to continuing that journey here in the following seasons. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Texan.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Well, what a series. Amazing interview as always. It's so fun to talk to these players. And while it is like I said, bittersweet moment seeing them like most of that team graduate, I'm not going to see them back in the future. There will be a legacy that's left behind, and this is a good end to their collegiate esports career as a player, at least. But LaFawn, we just had a series. We have another one coming. We gotta get that started, because these players have already been going, and we kind of gotta join that match.
Yeah, I mean, speed run here in terms of getting it to the next one. So, exciting stuff to see where our next grand finals goes.
Yep, see you in a little bit. Let me set that up.
like this. I like this. I like this. I like this. I like this.
welcome back. 2 series down, 1 finals to go. In Lafon, we got Barton Esports going up against the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. It's going to be, I mean, hopefully a hot one. They've already started because, otherwise it's getting ridiculously late for everybody. So they have already played 2 maps. And Lafon, we looked at this match on paper and on the history of these teams, and we thought, I have an idea of who's up 2-0. But it's not what we thought it was.
Yeah, quick.
It's the Armadillos that are up 2-0.
Yeah, quick recap, of course. Map 1, Lijiang Tower was a 2-1 in favor, of course, of the Armadillos. And then map number 2, Kings Road, which just finished a 4-3 score line, again, in favor of the team from Texas. So, surprising indeed. I mean, this is the number 1 seed versus the number 7 seed. Barton coming in into the grand finals at that record, having only lost 1 match in the regular season, and even that one was a very, very close 3-2. So certainly a surprising turn of events here in the final moments, but the series is not yet complete. Of course, this is a first to 4, and as such, 2 more maps will be required for the Armadillos, or an opportunity for Barton to make a return.
Yeah, Barton, plenty of space left to go. We had 2 maps already, but Havana is really one of those maps that, sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. But do we expect this to be completed? Absolutely not. Do we expect there to be a first hold? Much more likely. And the thing is, since we don't really know what these teams have played on the first 2 maps, there's not much to go off in terms of, what they prefer. If this is a map that is absolutely in favor of one of them, or whether it's a playstyle that they've done. Looking at the maps they've played before, it is likely that there was a lot of rush/brawl going on, which on Havana is not necessarily the pick to go for. So that might be why we're going here, to shake things up a little bit. But Barton has to start bringing their A game, it looks like.
Of course, at this stage, we should highlight that the 2 grand finals that were played earlier tonight, both of them went to 6 maps, so this is not a done deal yet. Actually, the first one went all the way to the end, so very, very extended night here, and an opportunity for Barton to make a return. This is their map selection, as highlighted. So the opportunity continues to give themselves a chance here in this grand final situation.
Don Robotico Distillery, it is one of the harder points to reach in the game because of Havana first defensibility, but plenty of teams managed to live up to the task. Barton Esports is going to show first whether they are up to the challenge. The Armadillos setting up the defense. Sure, they have a good one. Showing them brawl it out on the other 2 maps. Statistically, they'll be pretty fun. I like this Junkrat pick, especially if you're able to hold close, but it doesn't look like the Armadillos want to do it.
They are playing... we're seeing the Ramatra defensively here, so expect to see those brawls around corners, right, into that Nemesis form. The games have also gone the distance in this series to this point. So perhaps defense has been a bit of a contentious issue in this phase, and as we head to this 3rd map, an opportunity for the Armadillos to put, well, a real chokehold on this series. Is off to a great start as the tank evaporates. King Killa from afar, I think, just straight headshots with the Storm Arrow.
The Ramatra, very survivable hero if you can, not get headshot 4 times in a row. Unfortunately, that's kind of what happened there. Dominant position set up. Initially, the high ground already on control for Dalos as well. There is a contest there. Bam trying to get up there and chase away some of that pressure.
Ooh, that Junkrat cannot face their opponent that easily. It's a nice headshot, and King Killa will follow up. So Barton Esports have, this has been an opportunity now to get multiple eliminations uncontested.
The speed shooting range has been set up, and it's Junkrats flying through the air. They're not made of clay, they're made of actual flesh, at least if you're believing game lore. That's going to be Dalos finding another one. Cello under too much pressure, and the best guy is going to also be the best one at running away here of that soldier, using the legs. Not skipping leg day today.
Well, we'll have to take a quick mandated break as they head back to the spawn room. And, I mean,
Sleep dart.
Barton Esports, this has been a very commanding first point for them. Keep in mind that they're going to be able to start cycling ultimates now, as the Armadillos have not really been able to generate much in terms of damage, both or healing for that matter.
Said it before, defense seemingly not the strongest suit of either of these teams, at least judging from the King's Road distance that was pushed. But Bam finds King Killa, so they can start off a defense here without having to worry about those Runzo arrows. Sleep Dart, once again, goes out. We'll get Underdog this time around. Both teams running the Ana, but the Jack Visor's gonna get one, gonna get two. Might as well finish up the Ramatra Soul while you're at it. Why don't you? That's a team wipe, and the defense is now properly started from the Armadillos. This is where that time bank is going to start whittling down.
I like that they did that with just the tactical visor, right? That's a disposable ultimate if you really kind of consider, you know, the power scaling of it. It doesn't instantly take any eliminations out. So, you know, having that be such an efficient use is a tremendous value to the Armadillos because, again, have not been able to, you know, get much going for them in this map so far. This allows their economy to kind of equalize with their opponent, and Barton is going to, with as much time as they have, still going to have to overspend and, well, in this case, spend a little bit more time as they wait for the respawn. King Killa caught out and forced to respawn.
Show us what you got, Underdog. Can you push through this high ground? Well, not right now. You're waiting for your Hanzo, and now they get boxed in. Shello just stands behind the Ramatra and says, you can't go this way. You got to go forward. But there's the rest of my team waiting. They do lose the best guy, overextending a little bit into that outside plane. It should be under control of Barton Esports. It's still so much pressure, and this Junkrat keeps on spamming. This is going to be the one, though. 9 ultimates on the board, Lafon.
It's a good start here for Barton as they get the tank down. We saw what happened when the tank was the first one eliminated in the prior fight, which is, of course, the first point got unlocked pretty easily.
Am so low. They're going to find them as well. Jumps in front of the Zenyatta, or the Baptiste even, to not let them get eliminated. Underdog just pushing the pressure on, has the ultimate ready. So does Cello, though. This is a lot of free space that's going to be gained, especially with the Dragon coming through. Look how low Galaxy goes after the Dynamite hits them. Not that easy to just run out and do some value here, but there are the sufferers. Suffer as they both have. The Ramatras are out, but it's Underdog and Dallas that find the value. This card's going to keep on pushing, and there was never really a shot to properly recontest there.
Oh, Bam actually is caught. Yeah, there's no way you can get in to kind of get supported by your team. I mean, you trade Nano Boost and Annihilations there, the two squads do, but Barton Esports, they were there to support Underdog. The damage from the rest of the team able to shut down Cello on the other side of things. So, a very inefficient use of resources. I will say, though, despite how cleanly Barton has made their way through this point, or through the map, they actually don't have as much time as perhaps one would expect, and with how difficult the castle can be to assail once you get through its walls. There's still an opportunity here for the Armadillos to gain some, or to remove time, even as they lose a couple of players here.
3 minutes on the clock, but again, this card's already around this corner of the bridge. This is where that hole usually starts. Like, you get a proper defense here. This Tiger's got to find something. Goes all the way from the top rope. No one even hitting at once. Bam gets a triple. I mean, at that point, you have firmly established that you're going to hold here for at least another fight. That's just a beautiful place. They can now start spamming them when they come out of spawn. No cart in the way to block any fire. And aside from King Killa and Dallas just hitting like proper long-range shots, it's going to be hard to open up this point.
Getting to the point is going to be of critical importance, because then Dallas can send the Bob into the back line, right? And that's kind of how you open this up. You know, aside from getting those eliminations as you attended to. Bam, fresh off that 3K, gonna move over to a Widow now.
Comes from watching Collegiate and Contenders, like the Collegiate spray in the way there. We're supporting the overall idea of Collegiate Overwatch as King Killa supports their team by getting the elimination on the Bam. No more Widowmaker. There goes the best guy. DPS eliminated for the Armadillos. And they just keep on going to Unicorn. She's not going to be able to stop that from happening. It's just Bam 14 as Tracer on the point. That's not going to happen. And 146 completion on Havana. I mean, completion in itself was already a great start, but 146 is a decent time as well.
Yeah, 146 on a map like King's Row is not that impressive. 146 on Escort, especially as you know, as you highlighted, Havana is unbelievably good. It's all about setting expectations, and Barton Esports, perhaps, you know, a rough start has meant that they've taken a little bit of time to wake up, but now that they're in the moment, in the swing of things, perhaps this is where they can really come to their strength. And I mean, you know, the Armadillos not wanting for plays, just not able to string enough of them together to generate a remarkable defense here on Havana. But again, as we attended to, this match has been wanting for defense, and if the Armadillos can get a really, you know, aggressive setup on the offensive half of this is still a winnable situation for them.
Winnable, it always is, and Barton Esports put themselves in a very winnable position. But the Armadillos, you know, like we said before, it's just been this series so far. They had a 4-3 on Kings Road. That means they went to extra rounds, and it might just happen here again on Havana. Armadillos might get surprised by a close hold from King Killa and Dalos with the May and the Junkrat. It's a very explosive combination with the wall and some nades. Trap is already out. Is someone going to get caught? Not by the trap, but maybe by the combination of the wall. There it is. Double block off. The Immortality Field is good, though. They still find Bam. They still find Cello. And there's a mine going to the spawn. Cannot find the third or fourth elimination, but that's a good start to a hold and a lot of ult charge for them.
Still slowing down things just a little bit here. Literally so with the wall and the trap.
It's so hard to get out of spawn even for the Armadillos. They need to get something going here. They've got to find elimination. The anti-nade on Underdog is huge. They will find the elimination, and that is going to start off this push potentially. But they still have got to move this card more than 1.49 meters. And while the Ramatra Nemesis form is out, they cannot find these eliminations. In fact, they keep getting more and more pressure on them, with King Killa sitting on this gas station, finds the elimination on their counterpart. The best guys out of it as well. Once again, DPS are nowhere to be found on the side of Barton Esports for a little bit. And there is going to be a retreat now from King Killa. The skeet shooting is being set up again, but they burnt off 1 minute 15 before this card even started rolling.
And I mean, the Riptire's here as well. And a blizzard to back it up. I mean, if it fails, which is certainly going to be easier said than done. Keep in mind, there's not a lot that can actually shut down this tire in quickly, right? There's no real range poke here from the Armadillos.
Oh, Barton's looking. Barton found Bam. Bam's not going to get out of that one. Dalos finds that one, but unfortunately, the rest of the Armadillos were just ready to roar, walked straight into it, no wall to block them, got the 4K, and that is going to clean up Dalos. A little more time buying, though, and that's really fine for Barton. They don't need to win fights. They just need to buy a lot of time, so they have no time on third.
There is a recontest available here, and in fact, King Killa, yeah,
oh, no.
Identify that's a big read from Barton.
It's huge. The best guy setting up a flank, though, goes to the supports, has the Death Blossom ready, will find Crying Boss in the back line. So will they potentially find this Baptiste, but they gotta go for the heals first before they keep that going. Orphan, no more Immortality Field. A lot of low health bars there on the side of Barton, but they find the eliminations on the other side. Delos gets bammed, and with 1:30 on the clock, this fight's still going. They still haven't capped first. It looks like they might be able to do it now, though. A lot of damage coming out, even from Dota Unicorn. She's ready to skeet shoot her way to that first point. And once again, while finally this time as time make us burn down almost 3 full minutes, they do make it into the distillery.
A really close fight, actually. And a shutdown, by the way, onto Bam 14's Riptire made that even more contentious. But the Armadillos, they persevere. And speaking of persevering, this is going to be now a duel of the ages. We saw the Annihilation and Nano Boost combination used simultaneously on Barton's offense. Now it's an opportunity for a very similar setup here.
There's the Annihilation coming out from Underdog. They get slipped, they get trapped, they have nowhere to go, and they just get challenged by Cello with their own Annihilation. They do find the value. There's a trade, though. Galaxy goes down on the other side, but it looks like there's going to be a little bit more value from the Armadillos once again. They're going to get to push through this distillery a little bit more, and this card had already pushed Farlafon. A lot of free push here. They might not be able to contest properly.
Dalos, I think, in close with a Dynamite, ends up burning themselves. Is there a contest available here for the defense? Underdog will be there, but only barely.
Yeah, Underdog with the Immortality Field can do something. Has the supports on the high ground to help out, but it's not going to be enough when there's so much spam going into that little corridor. Power of the Junkrat really shining in those moments, and bam, pushing their team through. And now they're going to get a very similar time bank on third. Everything they lost on first, they just made up by straight up dominating through seconds.
And it looks like the trend of just perpetual offense continues here in map number 3. Still, as we said, the castle's so difficult to assail. A medieval architecture kind of designed to do this, so it makes sense.
Does also look like there's a little bit more affinity with the long-range hit scan on the side of Barton, which works super well on this particular point of the map, as well as it does on first. Dallas is looking for those heads, looking for those little ticks, and the dynamites, obviously, to pull up a lot of target softening. Bob is ready. Not going to throw it here. Then Bob will probably go either off the map or just find a wall somewhere that cannot see anybody. But it is ready when they need it. A lot of ultimates on both sides, though. So it's going to be a tricky one. Bam 14 ready with that rip tire. Looking for an angle. There he goes. Finally comes out. Goes after Underdog, but finds Orphan. Crying Boss with the Death Blossom as well. And that is going to be a very strong push. Once again, the card barely stopped at all rolling through this. 2.5 minutes on the clock. They're only 45 seconds away from matching time banks. And there goes Dallas just to put some icing on the cake. Who's going to come out of spawn? Who's going to contest here?
I mean, Nano Annihilation here from the Armadillos as the contest kind of comes in.
They will trade Crying Boss for BAM 14, of course, respawn advantage for the defense, but they got to even get to the point in the first place, even with the respawns. Bob will touch. It's a lot of damage, a lot of health on the point for a little bit, but who can really get there? They don't have a Kiriko to TP out of spawn, and with 2 minutes and 6 seconds, the Armadillos put up an even stronger time bank than Barton. It is only a 20 seconds difference, but 20 seconds is the difference between a potential last-second contest and not having that option.
And it feels like even though we didn't get it, obviously the game starting earlier, we still understand the tale of the series, I think.
Right? kind of got it head on, it looks like.
What a tremendous
Nailed
performance on the offensive side of really both teams. It really feels like all-out aggression has been sort of the marker for both Barton and University of Texas Rio Grande here, but who can temper it best? Defensively, I think is going to really spell the difference. And to date, to the moment, the Armadillos have been more successful at obviously being able to eke those victories away in the final moments, as evidenced by their scoreline here at this stage. And can that trend continue? Can they take match point here at the end of Havana? That remains to be seen, but they are, of course, in a better position as they hold the better time bank.
And it is an interesting thing in Overwatch in general, like as a game. The higher you get, the less these sort of Junkrat, spammy, aggressive, just almost kamikaze style gameplay moments keep working. But, of course, we don't play on like the absolute highest echelon Overwatch here in NECC all the time. In terms of SR, they still are very well-organized teams. And you see things like that Junkrat just jumping into your backline, getting value a lot more than you might otherwise. And that makes this such an interesting matchup, because both these teams really want to play that way.
You're going to see the Bastion, though, on the offense for Barton here. At first cooldown elapsed, and Underdog has to be so careful as a result. But Cello will be put to sleep.
Almost time for another configuration. There goes Dallas, trying to burn down the wall instantly. He's going to be able to do so, as well as the Ram Shield. They do find the best guy, but lose Underdog in the process. Well, this card is sort of free-rolling. They do need a little bit more if they actually want to get it to that first checkpoint. 50 seconds on the clock as they lose this fight. A couple of good sleep dart, and a setup for Galaxy and BAM to just finish it off. BAM 14 now back on the Ashe. A lot of Junkrat play from them before, but now they've actually chosen to set up with this Ashe and poke from a longer range more accurately.
I mean, they stagger Crying Boss quite late there in that final fight. And so, speaking of final moments, there's 30 seconds left on the clock here. Indeed, you've got an Ant Matrix. You're going to have a Nano Boost as well. And Cello is going to be the true raid boss, I think, of these final stages.
have to be. Orphan getting really close to that Transcendence might be the difference maker if they can get that up on time. Crying Boss losing a lot of health, but able to stay alive. Not going down just yet. There's a good Vortex. Almost gets the elimination of the best guy. They have to get through their block fairly early. There goes Underdog underneath, out of the fight, and the Transcendence cannot make it in time. The Nana boost cannot save anybody, and that is going to be it for this attack, it looks like. You'll have a Transcendence out to stall a little bit longer, but no one's be able to touch after this Zenyatta goes down. It is not like the last series where we have a Lucio stalling, the rest comes back in. No, this is truly over for this push. 206 is what UTRGV Armadillos have to push about 70 meters. 67, but, you know, they're close enough.
I mean, that's a fight and a half, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And how aggressively does Barton set up is the question. In my opinion, the doors are of critical importance. Getting that second fight is going to be basically a requirement here, right? Keep in mind, all that progress that was earned by Barton it is entirely because the Armadillos elected to play very passively, right? They elected to stay way back and only take a fight once the cart got to the first corner. So truly, Barton didn't actually win a fight on that first stage. It really was just a case of Armadillos electing to give up space to get the guaranteed win.
A little bit more time to work with here than the Barton had, but we know how Barton likes to play this. They played very well doing that close hold last time that burnt off almost 3 full minutes before he even got close to the objective. So if they can pull it off again, which I'm pretty sure they're going to try, could still go their way. Not a lot of space needed in order to make that play work.
4, 3, 2,
There you go.
1.
May and the Junkrat, they're setting up for it. There's the wall. Initially, the block off on Cello. They should get the elimination if they're quick about it. They find Galaxy instead. Underdog looks to be a little bit far out, but they'll still be able to put enough pressure onto Cello to take them down. First fight won. That gives them a lot of ult charge and a lot of momentum here on Lafon. This is a good start for Barton.
Yeah, good start. They get about 30 seconds off the clock as well. Armadillo's not respecting this close hold, actually. Kind of just walk out aimlessly and without a particular target in mind. Can't focus anyone down, and the Barton Esports makes the most of it.
Oh, look at this geometry. They're the math student here. I can already tell King Killa just simply unstoppable with these nades. Again, on this gas station, on the pump, just pumping out the nades. Best guy finds that immortality field, but it gets found themselves because the immortality field, of course, doesn't get an actual elimination. King Killa finally evicted from their high ground position, but there's still eliminations coming through. They find Bam. Dallos is traded. They gotta cleanly lose the fight here and then regroup because they cannot get staggered anymore.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, if you're Barton, you have to just kind of fully escape. You cannot hover around this fight whatsoever. Unfortunately, Underdog may not be in a position to be supported here.
Dota Unicorn already finding Crying Boss. It's not a good start to lose your Ana this early, especially. They did get the Nano off in time, but no eliminations have followed from that just yet. We are getting close to the Annihilation. The tire is already out, so we're getting close to the Blizzard. 30 seconds on the clock, and they might not need more than this. Blizzard is indeed out, but Dallas falls as soon as it lands. They do get these freeze on the Cello, then they get the elimination. It's just too much. The Nano, as well as the healing from the Ana, is too much. Cello, the best guy, they get the eliminations they need. Armadillos looking to punch their ticket to a match point here, right as the card gets to the end. The Death Blossom finds King Killa. No one can even touch anymore. And that is it for the Armadillos. Maybe one more person can touch. The Wrecking Ball comes in, but doesn't slam on time. That's it. 3-0 the series. And Lafon, we had 2 4-2s tonight, but we might not get another one.
Well, it is a match point situation here. And Barton, unfortunately, this is reverse sweep territory for them. I believe unfamiliar ground, well, by virtue of the fact that our first best of 7 occurs here in these finals. And that means that they'll have to win 4 in a row to bring this one back. And recall that this is the number 1 seed taking on a number 7 seed. And what a performance by the Armadillos. Unbelievable showcase here. And I mean, a well-deserved lead here, trying to just close out the final map.
And you know what excited me most about this? The fact that they're going to push. Because if both these teams play like this, What's a push map gonna look like? That's gonna be absolute chaos, but chaos in the best of ways. To both play like this consistently,
Yeah.
that's gonna be. It's almost hard to tell who's gonna win because it almost seems like the team that wins that first fight is gonna just push it all the way to the end, no questions asked.
Yeah, I mean, we should.
But yeah,
I mean, one thing we can definitely say is that I think describing this as being an all-offense match is accurate. And you know what happens when you head to a map, you know, as you kind of alluded to, that is basically all offense, right? You know, push is even when you're defending, you're not really defending. You're so much as you're kind of trying to set up an attack, but you know, a delayed attack. And this has now become a very interesting situation indeed. And I mean, you cannot really call. I don't think you can call a victory yet.
no, I don't think you can. But like I said, like I always say, there's a reason why push and rush have only one letter difference. It's because the devs knew exactly what they were doing when they were making that map type. And with, you know, this now coming through as our fourth map type and being match point for the Armadillos, this is where they can secure their championship. They can straight up do it, but it doesn't mean they're necessarily going to be able to. New Queen Street has been banned once again. We're going to go to Colosseo, not to Esperanza as we see so often.
And I mean, Colosseo, you know, talking about rush, Colosseo is probably one of the better push maps for it, right? You know, the small corridors that you can kind of work through on the main streets, the high ground contest that still favors, you know, those rush tanks, all that and more. I do like this selection here. Again, from Barton, the question now becomes, how well can you deny your opponent when they get, you know, the kind of snowball going, right? Because that's where the Armadillos, I think, have had the most success in their offense, has been chaining multiple fights in a row, right? And I think Barton needs to find a solution awful quick. And I mean, it's not like they have much room for error because, as highlighted, this is University of Texas Rio Grande's, you know, match point.
Yeah, and there's a good chance that they kind of run that Junkrat Reaper again. And on a map like Colosseo and push in general, it gets so much trickier to keep track of all these flanking and moving characters. Like the constant jumps to high ground from Bam, the best guy teleporting around. It's not something that is easy to do in the best of circumstances, but the way they play it, the aggression that comes out, it's not even about, you know, either fighting the tank, or fighting Bam, or fighting the best guy. Like, there's no moment where one of them is isolated and you can take them on. They really spread that fight out so well. And Barton Esports, I mean, they have got their work cut out for them. They're going for the Cassidy and the Genji here, which in their own rights are very strong on that duel. So that might be a solution to that problem.
Very aggressive angle here from King Killa. That's paid off, actually.
Yeah. Look, if they want to be aggressive, just slap it back in their face with a deflect. That's kind of how it works sometimes. Get another one on the cello. King Killa will fall finally as a result, but the Genji did their job. That's all you can really ask in that situation. Yeah, they also get a life. That's just bonus. But they get the first block control. They get to push it a little bit and start their aggressive position on this map, which both teams were really hoping to get first.
The interesting adaptation, of course, is the Moira versus the Baptiste. Obviously, not a lot of utility going to be able to follow through the Galaxy's Amp Matrix.
Oh, close eliminations there, but can't quite get the mines or the nades to connect in time with the right targets. The eliminations of the Crying Boss and Dallas open it up quite well, but King Killa does find Bam once again in that backline, and Bam, the Junkrat being out of the fight, is a huge deal here. Still, the aggression is there from the Armadillos. They're not going to be able to push that bot. 26.96 is all that Barton Esports got. And let's see if that can already be matched with the Armadillos as they group up and just straight up run back in again. This is not going to stop. There's barely going to be any breaks between fights.
Oh, none at all. You can see already staging for this next engagement. Barton is so close to utility. I mean, expect to see this coalescence here momentarily. Yep.
King Killa just head first, deflect out, straight away goes into it, coalesces out, no more immortality field, but the amplification matrix doesn't let it work. King Killa gets taken out instantly by Bam as a result, and this is a hard one to push into. Now the matrix is gone, but there's a sound barrier, even more sustained from Barton to push on through this, as Crying Boss is not close enough to the sound barrier to answer in kind, and that timing difference is exactly what they need. The best guy finds the last one with the Death Blossom, and that is going to be the lead taken now by the Armadillos. As Barton Esports, now they have an ultimate advantage, but they have a lot to push.
Very expensive fight for the Armadillos, right? That was everything except the Riptire. So now it's about, can you dodge this explosive utility? Bam has already been big in this series with this particular ult. Killer not even getting an opportunity to use the Dragon Blade here, taken out by Bam before things even begin.
There goes Dalos as well after the High Noon button was pressed, so another ultimates. They have the resources, but they're not able to execute at all with any of these, and they might even just get the checkpoint for free here with the Armadillos. It looks, yeah, they're just gonna. Yeah. No one can stop them. And that's their Armadillos taking the very commanding lead here.
And this is a tragic place to be if you're Barton, because it feels really bad when you have so many resources and you can't use them. It also means that this Riptire has gotten ever more valuable because now it can shut down multiple ults. I mean, Annihilation, even if it can pull out the sound barrier, you think it's doing pretty well.
Gets close, but Bam still finds simulation on the Moira. Like, that's kind of the problem, right? Even when you find the Junkrat, but he's that close, going to be able to find one or more than one target sometimes. Will now try and dash through. He can kill it, not choosing to opt to use the blade, but they might as well have, because now they're going to potentially get pushed out of it. And Dota Unicorn gets a double kill. What an amazing boop. That's what you want to see from your Lucier player. She's absolutely on point there. Already worked out with the sound barrier earlier. Now they're going to have another one before Crying Boss is even close to one. They're switching over to Kiriko.
I mean, now, Barton, that lead that we were talking about in terms of their ultimates has vanished.
It's gone.
It's completely gone. This Riptire has been around all game long.
There goes finally the Dragon Blade, but there is the sound barrier to counter it. All they have to do was hold on and wait, and they can kill immediately, running away for their lives. Bam 14 with the Riptire. Can they find anything? They do find a double. This looks to be all but over, and there's still 45 minutes on the clock. That's ridiculous how far they're already in the map. 125 meters, Lafon. What can you even do anymore when you're Barton?
I mean, it's tough. Annihilation, Ant Matrix out the door. You come out with Coalescence and hope that you find a pickoff.
There we go. Coalescence in the back line. With the Annihilation on the other side from Cello, Underdog will not be able to survive any of it. The Immortality Field is out. But Cello, as low as they go, will not go down. It's Dalos that falls. And with a 5v3, even though the spawns are close, you gotta think this is over. This is the Armadillos punching their last few meters into the bot, into their distance meter. They're going to take away a 4-0 victory against Barton Esports, take away the championship of the Emergence Conference, and what looked like a very back-and-forth series eventually gets won by just an overwhelming sheer force of aggression.
An absolutely deserved highlight here in the final moments by Dr. Unicorn. This is going to be that boop off the map. The first one on the Lucio to assert position, another one at the Reaper. What a performance. And then a sound barrier here in the waning, the tail end of this play to deny the Dragon Blade. I mean, a truly worthy highlight. And what a turnaround from the Armadillos, coming in as the 7th seed. They had a tough season. 4-5 was their score line in the regular season, but a dominant showcase here in the finals as they take a 4-0 sweep over the #1 seed.
They had so many teams to go through. CSP Blue on the 2nd seed, Grace Harbor on the 3rd seed in the semifinals. They just couldn't be beaten the last 4 or 5 weeks. They kept on winning, and they just do the same again with a 4-0 sweep. Like Lafon, we joke about it. We came into this lobby, we saw the player icons, and the coordination was on point between Armadillos, and so it was in the game. Although, when you have this much chaos being sown by a Junkrat, how much coordination do you really need anymore? The answer is, still some, but not as much. So, we'll see what they have to say about it when we talk to them a little bit. But congratulations to the Armadillos. We're going to throw it to a short break. After we come back, we're going to be talking to the players themselves. Definitely one, maybe more than one. We never really know what we're going to get. But let's congratulate them in person. See you on the other side. Welcome back, everybody. After that series of pure chaos, we got someone to talk to and explain to us exactly how that happened. Because, I mean, sometimes you can't even make sense of things anymore. And we got the best guy to explain it here. First of all, congratulations on the win. Of course, that's got to be said. But, I mean, we'd almost say what an upset. But I feel like you guys just came into it very confidently and took it away.
Yeah, so our season definitely started off really rough because we're a completely new team. None of us knew each other. So it was definitely a little bit of a rocky start, but then we started to find our stride like right before finals. And yeah, no, it's just been teamwork ever since. It's been awesome.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, we gotta kind of talk about the standings. I mean, even as you said, your team improving towards the end of the season. It's not often we see a team go from 7th seed to not just upsetting the 1st seed, but taking a 4-0 sweep over the all. I mean, you talk about your team clicking, and getting better, around finals. But what does that look like? What has been sort of, I guess, the strides that your team made to not only get the victory here, but make it look so easy?
It was just a lot of it came down to a lot of scrimming. We ended up finding out what we were good with, and we ended up finding out how we wanted to play, because for a while we just kind of kept trying to do what was meta, trying to figure out what was okay at the time. But then it came down to us being able to figure out like our specific little niches, and that really helped us, especially here. We kind of just decided what we needed and when we needed it, and just communicating what we needed. Sometimes one of us thought we needed something, but then the other person was just like, no, I think we need this, and that was pretty much all it took. Just communication and a lot of practice.
Yeah, because I mean, we came into the series like a couple maps late, of course. So we looked at what was the scoreline in the previous maps? How does that work? And we kind of had an early conclusion or sort of a speculation. Maybe the defense is just not that strong from either of these teams. And then we saw it with the Junkrat plays and everything just going like forward, press W, just keep on pushing. That kind of held to be true. Is that something that you guys are actively be like, you know what, we don't need to have a good defense if our offense is just absolutely blitzing, or is this not exactly how it works?
Yeah, no, we definitely found that we were fantastic at just going in as fast as we can, as hard as we can. We found that sometimes we would take a little bit too long, sometimes we would hesitate, and then it wouldn't work out. So we were just like, you know what? Why don't we just stop stopping and just keep going?
I mean, fair enough. It's your mistakes are easier or harder to exploit if your opponent doesn't give them the time to do so, right? So that does make sense. Let's take a moment though to zoom out though and kind of look at the season as a whole. It's been a long season, right? But what has kind of been, I guess, the standout moment, the highlight moment for you and your team?
Honestly, the highlight moment happened off tourney. We had one scrim that we played against one of our other teams, and one of our other I think there was a player or two that wasn't on the other team, but they were all like GM master level players, and it was rough. We really got it handed to us. But then I think the last game of that series of the scrim, we ended up pulling it together, and from there we were just like, ooh, yeah, this is us. We know what we need to do. We found our stride and we knew how to play with each other.
Yeah, was there like a something like specifically you guys did other than like just scrimming? Like, do you have a specific like coaching staff behind you, or like specific people, or ways that was there someone in your team maybe that made you guys all come together like that or find that solution? Or was there just some sort of unspoken click that happened unconsciously and everyone just said like, oh, this works, we're doing this?
So we fortunately have some very talented players on the other rosters for our teams, and including our own team. But we've just kind of been collaborating and trying to, like, we were scrimming a lot, but we kind of just, it took a lot of kind of questions to ask ourselves and what we wanted from this tournament, and just kind of figure out how we could get there and what we could do. And it was funny enough that I think all of us put that we wanted to win this tournament, and it was just so hard. But at every single win, we were just like, one more game, guys, one more game. Let's keep it going.
I mean, the hard work clearly paid off as you stand here champions over every team that you've kind of faced in here. I mean, adversity nonetheless transcended towards this ultimate victory. What, before we let you go to celebrate this achievement, any shout outs you want to give here at the end of things?
I want to shout out the rest of the teams that we played. Thank you very much for the fantastic experience. I want to shout out the rest of the UTRGV students that play. They really helped us out, and they really helped us find what we needed to do. And I want to shout out everyone for watching and for rooting for us. And even if they didn't, they helped us push a little bit harder.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, great to hear. And like we said, you guys just showed up. You did your job in terms of like figuring out, what you had to do as a team, and you executed really well. So it was a pleasure, talking to you, but also definitely seeing you guys play. Definitely give our congrats to the rest of the team as well, and just go celebrate, have fun, enjoy the win, and enjoy the future improvements as well as a team.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. Y'all have a great night.
No worries. So that was the best guy, and I mean, sometimes we say, behind the scenes, like, oh yeah, that was the best guy, but say true to their name. I like it, just app naming. Always good to see.
I mean, a tremendous showcase here in this particular series. 4-0, right? What a flawless run, really. And that push game, just full stop all the way, full bore all the way through. No stops whatsoever. A tremendous showcase and a well-deserved win. I'm excited to see, the progress that they made, having that performance in the regular season, coming in and having such a dominant showcase in the playoffs. And I mean, Classy, what better way to put a kind of exclamation point on a run through.
Yeah, exactly. And also a better way for us to the NECC to cut off the season here. It was a great one. It's always a long run, but we love to see it. And now with the seasonal structure in Overwatch as well, like it's something we don't always talk about, but you see the teams develop and change with different metas, and there's a patch coming and a new hero that might be throwing some things in the mix, new maps that sometimes create this new mini meta, like we saw it on Arctic Peninsula, that definitely changed things up a lot. Yeah. And we just went through all of it with NECC. That's the beauty of the format of this particular competition, that we just get to see the transformation happen for everybody. We all go through it together, and I mean, it was a great season. What can we say? Yeah,
of course, a big thank you from ourselves, myself and Classy, everyone behind the scenes as well, who helps put this show on, from the production to the staff in the behind the scenes as well. Of course, all the other games that the NECC puts on. It's been a fantastic season, and I mean, Classy, what more to say? But thank you.
Yeah, thank you to everybody, and of course, also thank you to you guys for watching, whether it was a team that you were supporting or whether you just wanted to see some great collegiate Overwatch. This was definitely the place for you to be. And tell your friends, to everybody, if you're in a college that's not yet participating, make sure to participate. There's also other titles. It's not just Overwatch. So there's definitely something for you if you're an esports fan or player of any kind. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll definitely see you in the future. NECC will continue. Stay tuned for more. And for now, enjoy the rest of your night.